ask analysts about the current market for artificial intelligence, you get really different answers.
There's a fourth industrial revolution that's being played out, and the godfather of AI is Jensen and Nvidia. And I think this is really the start of a new tech bull market where Nvidia is leading it. But Nvidia right now, it's their world and everyone else is paying rent when it comes to AI and what I believe is the biggest transformation to tech in the last 30 years.
But analyst Quincy Crosby says, while the AI theme is strong, investors should be wary about the potential for this trend to get too hyped up.
That brings you back to 1999, where everything wanted .com. Didn't matter what you did, you pushed a .com on it, and we know how that ended. When we start to see this push towards AI and everything, we start to, those of us who work in the industry, in finance back then, it sort of sends chills up our spine like, oh, no, don't do that.
Yeah, someone like myself that covered tech stocks back in the late 90s in terms of the boom, .com, and then of course the burst. I think it's apples to oranges in terms of the real spending that we're seeing, the fundamental stories playing out. I think it's actually laughable when people compare this to 99, 2000. As someone that saw it firsthand.
Nvidia has been a top performer in the S&P 500 in 2023, and as of late September stood alongside Apple, Alphabet, Microsoft, and Amazon as one of 5 US trillion-dollar companies. But let's back up. Before Nvidia became a household name, and before AI took the investing world by storm. Until somewhat recently, its main product was the chips to run video game graphic cards. In 2022, all that changed when ChatGPT launched and became a cultural phenomenon. The chatbot uses Nvidia's AI chips to provide human-like responses to prompts. Since then, you name it, from education to defense sectors, companies have been working to incorporate AI. Nvidia's chips are also guiding some early iterations of self-driving cars. The company's customer base, which now includes Amazon and Microsoft, has blown up. Wall Street Journal reporter Charlie Grant says,
investors started to realize this company, Nvidia, is making the chips that anyone who wants to launch their own AI program is going to need. So this whole AI phenomenon has turned into an enormous cash bonanza for Nvidia, the company, and as you can see, for shareholders who are lucky enough to own the stock before the spring.
Nvidia president and CEO Jensen Huang said in the company's late August earnings statement, a new computing era has begun. Companies worldwide are transitioning from general purpose to accelerated computing and generative AI. Profit for the chipmaker surged nearly 430% to $6 billion, and revenue was up about 100% year over year, hitting about $13.5 billion in the July quarter. Chip sales from Nvidia's data center business spiked 171% to $10.3 billion. Nvidia is looking towards sales of $16 billion for the fiscal third quarter, up 170% year over year, which is way above the street expectation of about $12.6 billion in revenue.
So it's grown up in a hurry in a very short time.
But now the question is, how long can Nvidia keep chipping away at market domination? That depends on how long corporate America pushes AI projects.
If the months go by, we get a recession, and the AI potential is no closer to delivering on its promise, you might see people say, maybe this investment doesn't make as much sense. Maybe we need to scale this thing back a little bit. And if that happens, then Nvidia either won't be able to sell as much stuff or won't be able to command as high a price for the chips it does sell. For now, their sales are certain and they're blockbusters, but for Nvidia to produce this kind of performance for years on end and justify today's valuation, eventually we're going to need to see some proof in the pudding on this AI stuff.
Another potential bottleneck for Nvidia is supply chain delays, with its AI processors reportedly sold out into 2024. Online retailer CDW is selling the H100 for $30,000. eBay auctioneers are asking more than $40,000.
Supply chain constraints, that's probably the biggest risk here.
Despite potential competition from companies like Advanced Micro Devices and Intel, Nvidia seems confident and can meet the current demand overdrive. Huang affirmed following the earnings call, "Our demand is tremendous. We are significantly expanding our production capacity. Supply will substantially increase for the rest of this year and next year." But not everyone is so sure.
One interesting thing in NVIDIA's results is accompanying this surge of revenue is there's basically no extra cost built in. Often when you have an exciting new product, you need to hire new workers, build a new plant, what have you. They have been able to keep their costs in line because their pricing power has gone through the roof. The overriding question is how long can that last for?
The chipmaker mostly uses the Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company for production, which recently had to push back an Arizona factory opening because of labor shortages.
They don't have the talent. They're actually, having to come in and train some of the local talent that's there in that region. We need the talent in order to continue the growth. And it's something that's extremely important for the development.
However, on a recent episode of Investors Business Daily's IBD live show, hedge fund manager Jim Ropel proclaimed there's nothing artificial about Nvidia's growth potential.
I have to tell you, I think Nvidia is the most important company in the world, and I think it's deserving of the largest market cap. I think Nvidia is going to be the largest company in the world. And people are like, well, it's already gone up 300% this year. Yeah, take a look at what monsters do over in history. Okay, give it 5 years, give it 3 years. We'll see where it is.
I think investors would be wise to remember that when they're reading a gushy forecast or, their broker says it's a hot stock. It is a hot stock and everyone knows it already. So how are you personally ahead of the game? And I think that's a tough question to answer when you've had the kind of breakout performance that we've seen this year.
For Investors Business Daily, I'm Meredith Heyman.